Hi everyone, it's Brett Jones. I'm back for the 6th session and I want to talk to you today about the forgotten secrets of lasting forever. Yes, the title of the book, right? Forgotten Secrets. Why did we call it that? Because we believe that after all these years of being in relationships, we really have forgotten how to have sensational relationships. When you think about it right now in our society, our divorce rate is about 70%. Can you believe it? I know statistics show it's about 50, but when you actually measure it from the 1970s onwards, the rate is much higher because in the 50s and 60s, divorce didn't happen as much. Partly because of social pressures, but also partly because people were conducting their lives in a different way. And we've altered that in recent times. Hence, we've actually lost the secret to being in a great relationship and knowing how to do it. Think back to when you were in the honeymoon period of any relationship that you've ever been in. Wasn't it fantastic? Wasn't that period absolutely great? It's like now you could go into any restaurant around your town, look around the restaurant, and what you would see would be the couple sitting there. In fact, I was having a meeting today with one of my teams, and we're out in a public restaurant, and there were a couple over the corner whilst I was talking to the team, and they were sitting there and they were kissing each other and they were touching and they were talking, and literally you could have set a bomb off under the table and they wouldn't have flinched. They were just so into each other. Why does that happen in the honeymoon period? And wouldn't it be great if we could continue that on through the whole period of the relationship? Well, you see, the reality is that most people say, well, that's not possible. You can't actually do that. It only happens in the honeymoon period. Well, according to our research, we beg to differ. See, to find the forgotten secrets, we looked at couples, we studied couples that had been together for 50 years, 30, 40, 50 years. And not just the ones who had been sentenced together, that had to stay together because there was nothing better on offer or they were too frightened to leave, but really those that wanted to be together. Why were they together? Why did they want to be together? You know, it's that little old couple that you would see on TV. They've been together 50, 60, 70 years and they're celebrating their anniversary and the news crews interview them, and there they are sitting next to each other and he's holding her hand, stroking it, and they're really, really good friends. But when you actually interview them, when you talk to them, they're not only great friends, but they really have a passion for each other. And that's reflected in a spiritual level, that's reflected in a physical level, and it's reflected at an emotional level. And those components we have to have in sensational relationships. It's not just the physical, it's not just the spiritual, and it's not just the emotional. You've got to have the combination of all three things to have a great relationship. So our mission has been to get people back to the forgotten secrets of what it really takes to have that truly fantastic relationship where you just want to hug that person, just want to be with them all the time, you want to spend time with them. So how do you do that? Well, we encapsulate it into 7 great principles. And that's what we're going to share with you in the next 7 videos. But the general principle is we want to be back in that honeymoon period, because we know from all the latest brain research that to light up the various pleasure centers that we have in our brain, there are lots of things that we can do that are going to do that. Everything from playing on the PlayStation or the Xbox, to going and seeing a great movie, listening to music, taking any form of drug. We know that coffee, we know that alcohol and other forms of both legal and illegal stimulants will light up those pleasure centers. But you know what? You know what shows in all the research that lights them up the most? Social interaction. Being with other people. Having relationships. Because that's the way that we're wired. We're wired in our neurology. We're wired in our physiology. And we know that it lights up our heart. It lights up this area of our body. And we actually have neurons in our heart muscle, the same as we do in our brains. And being in a relationship lights those up. And we feel it. Where do we feel love? We don't feel it up here. We feel it in the middle of our chest. It's like this huge glow that we have in the middle of our body. And when we're in a sensational relationship, it lights us up in a massive way. It lights us up in a way that very few people ever experience outside of that honeymoon period. So when we get a relationship back to being like that, and it's not something that you want to force, it's not something that you want to try and create, it's something that you want to happen naturally. How do you do that? How do you make it happen? Well, if you remember when you're back in the honeymoon period, like the couple I was just describing, they're just so into each other. His focus on her is intense. He's not thinking about anything else. He's not thinking about work. He's not thinking about the kids. He's not thinking about the football score. He's not thinking about his car that needs fixing. He's not thinking about the motorbike that needs repairing. He's not thinking about the next fishing trip. He's just thinking about her. And when you get that intense focus, you get a physiological effect. You get the oxytocin rising in her body. You get the testosterone in his body rising as well. And suddenly you've got that critical ingredient that's necessary in our physiology to get that passion going in a relationship. And that's what we seem to have forgotten. Because these days, we get into the relationship, we're in the honeymoon period, they're just perfect, they're absolutely fantastic. There's nothing they could do wrong. Even if they squeeze the toothpaste at the wrong end, even if they left the toothpaste on the ground in the bathroom and squeeze it all over the bed, we'd walk in and go, oh, isn't that so cute? The way she does that, squeezes the toothpaste all over the bed. No wonder I love her. 2 years later, it's like, can you believe how untidy she is? What a pig. And then we try and change them. Then we try and fix them. Then we try and alter them so that we can love them in accordance with that original image we had of them. But the thing is that when we experience those emotions caused by the change in our physiology, guess what happens to our focus? Guess what we notice about our partner? Yeah, you got it. Only the good things. It's almost like we become blind to all those habits that used to annoy us. Now we only see the best in them. And you know what? It's a funny thing about human relationships, isn't it? It's like running a team. When you only see the best in the team, guess what comes out in the team? Do you remember ever reading that story about a group of teachers in America? And what they did is, they got the teachers and told them that the students that were in their classroom were the very best students in that year. And that the teachers were to push them and teach them to their highest level. And they gave another group of students to another group of teachers, and they told them that these students needed additional help. They had some certain learning disabilities, and they needed a lot of input. Guess what happened in each class? Well, of course, the teachers that had the really bright students, they excelled. And the teachers that had the students that had learning disabilities, they didn't do so well. But you know what was really critical about the experiment? Yeah, the teachers that had the brightest students, they were actually the students were the ones with the learning disadvantage. And because the teachers didn't know that, they treated them like they were really, really intelligent. And guess what happened? And in the other class, the teachers taught those kids as though they were disadvantaged. And that's exactly how they behaved. There's a critical element here to recognise. You can say, well, Brett, what you want me to do is ignore all the shitty stuff that my partner is doing. No, I don't want you to ignore it. It will still be there. But you know what? It won't bother you the way that it used to bother you. And what you will see over a period of time is that the more you focus on the critical good things that person's doing, that behaviour will come out. When you're at that physiology, you won't even notice those other things because you'll just love them so much like you did in the honeymoon period. So how do we get ourselves there? Well, there are critical 7 steps, like I said. And each step has to be done in sequence. Each step has to be done in the right order, in the right time, in the right way. It's like anything in life. If you wanted to pick up a golf stick, and first of all what you wanted to do is just get the stick and hack at the ball, guess what's going to happen? The ball's going to go straight up, even if you want it to go long. Because there are certain things you'd have to do. You have to bring the golf club way back. You have to hold it at 45 degrees behind your head. And then you have to synchronize your body, your arms, all in a particular way to be able to hit that ball exactly like you want to hit it. And creating the relationship that you want is exactly the same way. Every step has to be done in order, in a sequence, to get exactly the desired outcome. And if you're not getting the desired outcome, then you need to back up one step and redo what you've been doing, and then move forward again. So I hope you guys are going to be up for this challenge. I hope you're really looking forward to creating this sensational relationship that you want, because we really do have the secrets to being able to do that for you. And how we know that is that we incorporated them into our Ignite Leadership Seminar. And that seminar is about leading ourselves and giving us influence in every area of our life, including intimate relationships. Because if you're going to have influence, if you want to have influence over someone else, the very first person you have to lead is obviously yourself. It can't be anyone else. You have to lead you first. And that's no different when it comes to this. So one of the steps, as you'll see, is really recognizing your own limiting patterns of behavior and how they're coming out in your relationship. So stay with us. We're going to go through the 7 steps in the next 7 videos, and we'll outline exactly what you need to do. If you want to back this up with some home study, contact us. Get your copy of The Forgotten Secrets, and you can work your way through it. You can also have a look on the website, which is www.secretsofforever.com. secretsofforever.com, and you can order a copy of the book online, and we'll send it to you. So stay with us. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.